One of the absolute worst parts of camping is when you get next to that nice warm fire at night and maybe roll your wool blanket over you and that cool air is against you, and then you fall asleep and then you wake up because your fire went out and you got cold. Then you're scavenging around, you're looking for wood, and you're figuring out how to get that fire up. The heat raises up again once the fire is going, you get comfortable, and then you wake up an hour later because the fire went out. Well, today, what we're gonna talk about is a self-feeding fire. You're never gonna have to worry about that issue again. The self-feeding fire is really quite an easy concept. The first thing that we need to do is gather good materials though. This fire is very material dependent. When choosing your fuel source for this type of fire, you want to make sure that you get something that number one is dead, and number two, that is of good size. Small little sticks are going to burn up just as quick as they would in a normal campfire, leaving you with just embers and ashes at the end of the fire. Next, we also want to make sure that the wood we are choosing for our fuel is nice and round. We're actually going to need this fuel to be able to roll down into the fire as it burns away, which you're going to see here in just a few minutes. Now, once our wood is back at camp, we want to take 4 sticks and we're going to drive them in the ground at approximately 45-degree angles. These sticks are going to act as rollers. As we pile our wood up on each side, this wood is going to feed downward into the center of the V shape we are now creating. As this wood pushes into the center, it's going to catch fire and continuously feed itself via gravity throughout the night. And our self-feeding fire is now set up and ready to begin. So how this actually works is as our fire burns in the center, it's gonna burn away these lower logs. So if I could pull this log out just like this, you can see that the wood drops down and then the next log will roll on top of those embers and continue to burn. All that we would need to do then is stack more lumber up the sides the longer we want that to burn down into the center. Now, a few key elements to remember when it comes to these self-feeding fires. The first is that you want to scale the fire according to your needs. Remember, just using small little sticks on these ramps, they're going to burn up just as quick as if you were just throwing them on top of a fire. So you really want to get yourself suitable size lumber. You see that I used something that was 5 to 8 inches in diameter, so it was quite large. I needed a saw to process it. You also want to make sure that the gap between your logs this way is at the proper angle. If it's too steep, the fire is just going to climb up that wall. So we want to make sure that whatever log is above what's burning, so this one right here, is not in the way of the fire. It's going to burn a little bit, but we want to make sure that as we go up that ramp, that stuff's out of the way and staying cool. And lastly, the biggest misconception that I've seen over the years with people attempting this fire is the fact that they think once this middle is ignited, you just can let it go. And the reality is you still need to fuel that fire a little bit until you really get a good base of embers. So it's going to take some time, it's going to take some maintenance. So if you really want to get this fire started and you're going to use it throughout the night, start it way ahead of time and just keep it going throughout the day and just add more wood onto your uprights as you go. And then when it's time for bed, you're going to have a nice bed of embers built for those larger logs to roll down into and burn away. And that is a self-feeding fire. I hope you really enjoyed this video. It's a really interesting way to actually set up a campfire, so I hope you get out and give it a shot. As always, check out ucogear.com for all the fire starters, candle lanterns, and everything else awesome on the site. And as we like to say, stay lit.